Hello, I'm super excited. We are on another version of the Scrum chat room. And today is a very exciting session because we have a special guest for today. And the topic we are going to be discussing for today is the secret to land your first Scrum Master job. And we're also going to be talking about some exciting news about Safe 6.0. What does it mean to you? You're already in the market. What do you need to know? You're not yet there. But then most importantly, there's so many interesting questions which we're going to discuss today with our special guest, Scrum Master Extraordinary, Mr. Rudolf, which I'm going to be introducing him in a moment. For the meantime, there's quite a lot of learning. Prepare yourself to ask a question. But before we move ahead, drop in the chat comment. Let me know where you're watching us from so that we can give you a shout out. Hello, Mr. Prisco. I see you. Let me know where you're watching us from. Let me know where you are connecting from. Now, we like to go straight on point. We like to get it started right away. So I'm going to bring our guest speaker on board and so that he can introduce himself. Okay, here we go. Hello, Mr. Rudolf Matute, Scrum Master Extraordinary. Welcome to the Scrum chat room.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Francis. It is my pleasure to be here and to share, learn, talk to the world about the values Scrum has come to portray using the agile mindset to help our people get align our thoughts, no matter the environment, no matter the culture, no matter the place, the time we find ourselves. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. And now, one of the reasons why this is a very special session, Rudolph is someone who has been in the industry for a while, and the Scrum just come naturally. And one of the biggest hurdle we want to solve during this session, which we want to make sure that we are serving you, is that why many people kind of finding it very difficult. We are going to come to that right now. Now, but before we get to that, Mr. Rudolph, the key question I know many of our viewers will want to learn. They want to learn more about you. Who is Marute, and can you tell us a bit about your Scrum journey?
Well, Rudolf Matute is my name. Scrum Master. I was Scrum Master without the extraordinary, but excelling in the Scrum Master field, working with a lot of teams, companies to help them align their goals towards project delivery and adding value to all of it, made me act the extraordinary part of it. Um, Being passionate about it makes me go one step or two steps ahead of the game. Getting to know and develop that mindset, putting it back to where it belongs, looking at the scope, looking at the time of what could be delivered makes it an extraordinary part, which I come with. Originally from Cameroon, West Africa. The goal to every work environment, it's everybody, I'll say everybody has used Scrum in one point or at every level of their lives. It is just all about knowing where to align it, getting the basic concepts and context, which we'll be looking into that subsequently.
All right, great. And thank you very much for that great opening. It's all about looking at the context and from where which angle you can come in from. So, uh, let me say hello to all those who are connecting. There's quite a number of people. Just drop a comment where you're watching us from so that we give you a big shout out. I see Angel from Dallas, Texas. I see Ugona from Houston, Janet from Maryland. I see some people your name appear as LinkedIn user. So if I don't call your name, just know that your name doesn't indicate on my portal. I see Wayne from Indiana. I see Alan. Thank you for watching. Kaisa from Tusa. Um, Chinene from England, quite a lot of people joining in, but let's just see where you're coming. I'm definitely going to make sure that we roll out everybody up. I see Kwame from London. Hello, everybody. While we have just about 1 hour, we want to make sure we maximize the time. So let's go straight into some of the big conversation in here, and then we are going to come back later on to see exactly what is going on. So the first question for you, which I guess a lot of people will be also interested in knowing the answer. It might seem very simple, but then we want to break it down because we want not to go by what the Scrum guy says or what the Scale guy says. Who is a Scrum Master? What can you tell us? Who is a Scrum Master?
All right. A Scrum Master. It's let me call it. Um, there's an old saying. They say, "Jack of all trade, but master of none."
Yeah,
Um, but everybody turns to focus Scrum ideas just in the IT world. You
yeah,
know, Scrum is everything, anything we do, be it from getting a plan of action towards attaining goals. Now, Scrum Masters basically, in let me put it in the context in the IT world which we are facing,
mhm,
help teams develop projects which they're working on. At first, it used to be yesteryears from when we started or I started like a Scrum Master. It was just basically the knowledge of people getting that Scrum is all about going to facilitate events,
that's right.
sitting in meetings and talking to people. But the concept eventually has evolved. It has migrated from just being a ceremonial host or a facilitator, but it has also moved to the concept where we need to understand the context to it. Scrum Masters help teams. Yes, I hear a lot of people say Scrum Masters are impediment removers. They help to communicate with the team, but you need to also be part of that environment for
That's
you
right.
to be able to succeed like a Scrum Master. So, be it, let me, the most example I use is cooking eru. You're a Scrum Master, you want to cook eru. For those who don't know, eru is one of the most favorite African Cameroon meals. You need to know what are the components of it. What are the stages you get yourself involved? What is the value that you bring to the team? What is the changes? Scrum Masters have turned to be a change maker, a change giver, a change influencer, and you do a lot of teaching, you do a lot of coaching, you do a lot of mentoring, and you monitor whatever your teams uh, are working on. You're able to report and relate to be it management or the various stakeholders on the progress with which you have been working on the project. So, whatever environment you find yourself, be it at the level of your home, you can implement Scrum in your home. You can be a Scrum Master of your home because organization and discipline has helped or is the key of you becoming a Scrum Master.
Thank you very much. I think I do align with you, and we need to shift away from I'm Scrum Master. I have facilitate event and remove impediment. And to be sincere, if you go for many interviews now, the question they will ask you, apart from facilitating event and removing impediment, what's your role as a Scrum Master? Because everyone is too used to hearing that. Yeah, in most
Exactly.
of the cases, the one word which you can summarize that, it's from my own perspective, I always say that as a Scrum Master, your goal is to help your company deliver business value.
Exactly.
So when you focus on that, facilitation and removing impediment is part of the process. But then we cannot just bring someone in because we want them to facilitate event
Facilitate.
and remove impediment. There needs to be something they're doing. So as a Scrum Master, your goal is your job, and which is why I think for those who have been following me on YouTube, I talk a lot about a case study. Now, let's just give a very quick scenario, Mr. Rudolph. Let's say that you just spoke about Aero, which is a very delicious meal from Cameroon, and no, the people who are watching us, they don't have any idea about it. So no matter how you describe it to them, they
They
might not
will
really
not.
have a feel until they come see you, maybe do it, then they can talk about it better. So if someone is explaining how to prepare arrow to you and you know it very well, you can easily tell if they're saying the truth or not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're just
Absolutely.
going to come back to that question soon. Why we are going to the next question. I think it's part of our next question, which we are going to deal with today. And the next question say, what is your perspective on the future of Scrum? Many people say, oh, the Scrum market is getting very saturated. It's not a place to be. And what's your perspective? Someone that has been in there and you already have an idea, and with all the evolutions coming in now. So one of the stuff we always talk about is this Sales 6.0 coming up later on. But what is your perspective on the future of Scrum?
All right. Scrum, as I tell people, basically it's the framework for it is the framework, and I always tell people Scrum is the mother, while the father is Agile. Every environment wants to get that agility or agile methodology mindset using Scrum in its way of operation. Scrum comes with a lot of benefits. First of all, to every environment, and I look at it from being the future of it. It's growing gradually to the level where once as you get an understanding, be it whatever environment you find yourself in, I've had a lot of people I spoke to, nurses, doctors, pharmacists who are trying to transition into this agile or Scrum space, but they do not realize that what they have been doing for be it the past 10 years, 20 years, it's all about Scrum.
Yeah.
It's all about Scrum. The future of Scrum has yet to reach its peak. It's not going anywhere.
Mhm.
It's evolving through. It's becoming more a little bit complex because I mean, if you utilize Scrum in your environment and you're able to deliver value with customer satisfaction,
Mhm.
trust me, you're getting to the point where you would like to stay and you will always stay in business. Scrum business, as I'll call it, you're a business agility coach as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the evolution of it all lies on the environment we find yourself. And trust me, every environment is different. You
Yeah.
know, every environment is different. I've contracted and I've worked with various companies, and every environment comes with its own knowledge. And when trust me, when you get to this environment, you have to identify where you have to suggest changes, you have to recommend changes, you have to improve on the changes for a better workspace and to attain the goals and objectives. And basically adding value to the big projects or project timeline, scope, delivering in a timely fashion to gain the client's trust. Looking at the pillars which Scrum was built on, you talk about transparency, inspect, and adapt to gain that area of confidence to align your thoughts with goals of which management has to provide.
Thank you. And I really love the fact you highlight the pillars of Scrum, and you agree with
Oh,
me,
yes.
just making a joke that any house built on strong pillars cannot go down. So they actually have a
Oh,
reason
yeah.
why they actually bear it on pillars. So for those who are thinking it's going somewhere, there are a lot of pillars supporting it. It's not going anywhere. It's not even. We are still within the second decade of implementing Scrum. Now, if you look at the boom of Scrum, it really started in 2010 with the implementation of Scale Agile. And if you look at the way, most especially Scale Agile, it's pushing Scrum. They started from 4.0, now they are in the
4.6.
6.0.
Yeah.
And you look at the numbers of company adopting the concept. Trust me, I used to tell my team, those who are looking forward to get in the market, and I used to make a joke. I said, look, within the next 2 years, it's gonna cost you 100,000 to get into a field of Scrum. Why? Because the value they are creating is so much that people can resist it. In the United States, the government is adopting it. I was talking
Absolutely.
to the state of Austin the other day, and they're looking forward in transforming all their department into Agile, and they're using Safe, which is just now they're still exploring, and they're still talking to people like, oh, what's the idea? This is what we have. This is what we have. And I also spoke to USSA, and they were looking forward to set up about 78 different trains, which means that those 78 different trains need about 78 registered engineers and 100 of Scrum Masters. So there is so much opportunity for someone out there with a passion. And one of the good news is that uh, you don't really require any technical skill to become a Scrum Master. You require the passion,
The passion.
and we definitely gonna come to that. Now, let's talk a bit about your experience, Mr. Rudolph. The expectation between the theory and the practice. What was it like when you got into your first run as Scrum Master? Tell us the truth. Like,
All right,
what
this is a
was
little
the
bit
expectation the
this,
first
this
day?
this is a little bit serious, you know. But I mean, the first thing I'll challenge everyone listening to this podcast is if you want to become a Scrum Master, you need to do the work.
Yeah,
You need to do the work. What do I mean by you need to do the work? You have to build that self confidence. Your confidence is going to give you that job. Now, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't know what the confidence is built. My confidence is weak." Dedicate this time. Take interviews. Apply. Dr. Francis, I remember when I told you the first day we met, I said before I got my first Scrum job, moving from the project management world to the Scrum world,
hmm,
um, I did like 20 interviews. You know, I remember there's a friend of mine, I'll permit me call his name, Are Atabong.
yeah,
He's in Canada. I used to bug him a lot. I'll call him at midnight. I used to be like, what is going on? Why am I not getting it? He told me, put the work, do the work, read what you have to do, quest for the knowledge. Your quest for the knowledge should lead you go through it.
yeah,
Now, when I got my first job, I mean, when I walked into that corridor in the field of a Scrum Master, I saw the difference between the book work and actual reality
yeah,
itself. I mean, what is expected, because my experience they paid forth because I had gained the mastery of it. Now, nobody was going to tell you, oh, you had to set these meetings, or you had to come into this, you had to set this time frame for this. You had to record these sessions. You had to know 15 minutes limit to what the daily scrum was inquiring. You had to meet a one-on-one interaction with, be it your product owner, your squad lead, or your technical lead, or your team members, for you to work on building that agility, scrum, mental agility for your team. Agility health in scrum spaces is very important. I was able to face the reality of being a very good listener. Mr. Francis, when you listen to what your team members have to say before you suggest, I tell
mhm,
people Scrum Masters do not impose. They do not impose. They suggest, they recommend, and they coach teams to work together to develop that agile mindset. Now, the book will tell you, oh, this is what it is. This is what, when you identify anti-patterns
yeah,
to every work environment, it's where the challenge begins. Do not be too comfortable. True. Do not be too comfortable. The quest for knowledge. When I went back after my first day of work, I went back to do a little bit more research about what is expected. What do we move from here? What is what are the ways for me to improve?
yeah,
On a weekly basis, I did personal retrospectives for me to know where I have to be, where I intend to be, where I am right now, and
mm,
ways for improvement. This helped me a lot. Get a build up connection. I have various team members who I connected from my very first day. The networking was so great, you know, be it out of space or in space. I remember Dr. Francis, you and I on a daily basis during my first days of work. I always connect with you, "Oh, doctor, this is the challenge I face." When you talk with people, it smooths your way to it. The fright of the unknown, you know, a lot of people will be afraid to be like, to do the suggestions and being silent. Now, when I say being silent doesn't mean you should just go there and you want to like, oh, you be the super cock environment. No, you should be patient. You should be able to observe. You should be able to listen, learn, and then bring in recommendations, suggestions, and that helped me a lot. You know, theoretically, the theoretical knowledge was there, but now how do you implement that? That was the biggest challenge. But I think with great community of practice, building a very strong network with people, believing in yourself, believing in yourself. Like every time when I close work, I go to my mirror, I talk to my mirror. That bring speak possibility. positivity, be inspirational to yourself. It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot.
Well, you mentioned quite some really great points there, and I think that also take us to our next question. Why a lot of people saying, you know what, our Scrum Masters interviews are becoming so technical, and they can't understand why it's becoming so technical. What's your take on that?
My take to the technicality of it. Let me remove the word technical first, right?
Yeah,
When you practice, when you practice, when you study, when you digest the material, when you talk to people, when you read, when you relate, when you educate yourself, when you meet the right coaches, when you meet the right networks, when you attend the right classes, you turn to get that knowledge. Now the technical part of it, as I said, most scrum master jobs nowadays are becoming technical, as you say, because
yeah,
people just believe that Scrum was just all about going to facilitate these meetings,
mhm,
going to stand up 15 minutes, spring review, and all of that. No,
yeah,
no, no. It's no more of that. If you want to lead people, because Scrum Mastership comes with some leadership role, you're a leader, you're a servant leader. You need to know what is expected of you for the project you're building on. I mean, they cannot tell you
oh, all right. It's
and the concept itself should not only be the point of focus here, the context as well, and
yeah,
our advice that be technical. Your talk about your accomplishments, be it in whatever small space you find in,
yeah,
be it the nursing field, the sports field, or whatever field you find yourself. Speak of your accomplishments, your ability to motivate people, to bring out
mhm.
the potentials that people need to help them work towards goals and values for the project. I think that is the technical part of it. Is I encourage everybody listening to my voice that Scrum Master job now, or Scrum Master role, being to become an extraordinary person like myself, you need to get a nose dive into the concepts and the context to what it is, not
Okay.
just coming in to talk about the facilitation and all of that.
I do agree with you. I think I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I asked them a question. Assuming you're not a mechanic, right? And I hire you to work in my auto shop, and you work there for 2 years. It's very natural that you will know all the different parts and not even look into the book after 2 years to know exactly what it's about. You're not a mechanic. Just the fact that you've been in that environment. Now, this goes to my contribution about the concept where people say Scrum Masters are interviews are becoming technical. Uh, we need to agree that there's no entrance position for Scrum Master, and this is the
Absolutely.
rationale, and this is why company cannot or will not open that up. A Scrum Master is from a leadership perspective, which is why you require only 16 hours of study credit to get certified. So that
Absolutely.
should already tell you that it's not for beginners. It's for someone who has the skills that they can apply at the leadership basis. I think one of the major changes Save 6.1 has done is Scrum Masters are more referred now to team coaches, so, which means that if you want to say you are a football coach or you are a coach, it means you have the knowledge, right?
Oh, football. Yep.
Yeah. We don't actually expect you to understand how to build softwares and how to do that, but at least understand what someone that is building a software, if they say I'm doing unit testing, what at least that's the term they use every day. If
Yes.
they say is, oh, we're working on an automation system. Those are basic stuff we do every day. So just kind of for questions that are coming, we're going to take them in a bit. So just be patient with your question. Now, that is the kind of the gap a lot of people are actually missing, and which is why one of the things which is very important. I say this to a lot of scrum masters that always call me like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And the first thing I say, you're not investing enough in yourself. You're
Absolutely.
sitting after a 2 days class online, getting a resume, then you know exactly what the team is working on. You earlier spoke about joining community of practice. They are worthless. They are worthless, and you cannot even put a price to that
Yeah.
because they help you kind of get to the reality. So this takes us to our next question. Our next question says, what do you think is stopping an average job seeker looking for a Scrum job to get a job? Based from your perspective, what do you think is holding them, and what can they do to bridge that gap?
Okay. The first thing I'll say, the first limitation comes from self limitation. I've had a lot of people I've spoken to. They'll be like, "Oh, Rudolph, I'm down. I'm weak. I've been applying for this for months, for years. I'm not getting it." Then I turn the question back to them: What are you not doing right?
Okay.
Are you investing time into this? Are you investing this? You need to invest time to not only acquire the knowledge. Getting the knowledge is one thing. Speaking about it, it's another thing. Getting to interact, build that network with people
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
are in that space lifts you up. You cannot be wanting to be a scrum master and permit me apologies to all my doctors, but you're more working with doctors in the medical field rather than trying to incorporate yourselves with doctors in that particular agile field or environment. The limitation to that has been the focal point. You need to invest in yourself. You made mention of community of practice as well. Put a friend, get a study partner, look for someone which you hold their hands together. I have some ladies, a couple of friends as well. There's Grace Ajali, Grace Nelson, and CK. Those are the people I call. Those are the friends I call. Will you, Dr. Francis? Meet people. I have Robert Tawani, the big Beto. A shout out to him because you and Dr. Francis and Beto, you really guys pulled up my hand towards this process. Encourage yourself. Now, I also mentioned that you need to know the context of what you are working on. You need to do self studies. You need to dedicate time. Um, Dedicate an hour, 2 hours a day. Um, Dedicate that time to watch videos, get study materials. Sharing is knowledge. Be knowledgeable. Impact knowledge. Do not be discouraged. Use it in every environment you find yourself in. Whatever you find yourself in, do not, I mean, the low esteem is going to push you down. Yes. So
Yeah.
I want to, my to go word for that is invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, your quest for knowledge, I mean, I'll tell people, I said, I used to read Scrum like I was going for evening prep, for those who know back then. I
Yeah.
mean, I used to be aggressive to learn what it is. And trust me, that time I spent, um, it's paying fruit and only getting better. It's only
Wow.
getting better. And the quest, and also the quest for continuous knowledge, continuous improvement on yourself is going to take you very, very high.
I do agree with that. And what I can add with that is for those who are there and it seems like you're not hitting it, look for a community of practice and join. A community that have a system. Now, the mistake I see many people make is that they're looking for where if I have a problem, I can call you like, oh, I have this question, what's the answer? Oh, I have this question, what's the answer? Trust me, that will not get you there.
It
Uh,
will not. It will not.
get a community where they can run demo project. You can see them. You should be able to use uh, an ADO board, a Jira board. Look at what conference is. You should be able to have an opportunity to facilitate events, and that is how people get there. Right now, there is no magic. It's about your consistency in doing the right thing. But
Absolutely.
also, I think what many people also need to do when you spoke about investing in yourself, there's a secret in investing in yourself, which is buying books.
I'll leave that to you. You're the business. You're the business
Which is,
analytic.
yeah, it's a very powerful aspect for any, if you're pursuing a Scrum Master journey and you've not actually invested your money to go on Amazon or anywhere and buy a book that is talking about Scrum, you should do that. It, number one, it creates so much value to what you're pursuing, and it helps you know that, okay, if I can, you can invest your money on what doesn't really matter to you, but then it's a very a good strategy to stay ahead. But most importantly, get into a community that can fire you up. All right, we'll start taking your questions soon.
Just one more thing. Sorry for that.
Yes, go ahead.
When I people will be surprised the way I talk about Scrum to those I've spoken to. They'll be like, "Oh, Rudolph, you speak so well about it. You speak so well about it." Trust me, practice makes perfect.
That's right.
When you practice, like when I started this journey, this transition, the person I did my program with, I'll tell him, I say, "Oh man, you speak so well. When will I be like this?" And now trust me, when I started talking about it, I didn't even realize. When you're ready for it, you will know.
You would
I
know.
mean,
That's
you will
right.
know. When you're ready, you will know. And the key to getting the jobs as well is go to whatever platform you want to apply on. Do the applications, get the interviews. Trust me, when you apply, know what is on your resume as well. And when you're in front of that panelist, trust me, when you do those interviews, you will never be the same. You
Yeah.
know, I remember when I joined one interview, they told me, "Hey Rudolph, tell me a user story." I said something very, very different. I think when I I talked about something very, very different. But when I went back, I realized I realized I was lacking in that part. What was scope creep? It was something. I mean, I've heard about it, but I did not invest time in knowing what it is. And those challenges hits you when you get to the job. Like you literally see scope creep being from the business value. The client will say, "Hey, this business value needs to change because of because or the change of the value of the market as well as customers feel that this is not going to bring a potential, or the stakeholders want to do an evaluation or a change to it. I mean, those were those visual things which you literally see. Invest in yourself, practice, get a friend who has a friend who can talk to a friend who wants to teach or learn about Scrum itself. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And someone was asking, which are some of the books you can suggest? Now, for those who are lover of the Scale Agile framework, we're going to talk about that in a bit. I'll recommend a book. In general, there's one book which is very, very super important, which I think will help you to learn a lot. The title is called Inspired by the it's by Mati Kagan are inspired. If you can see the title, get that. It helps you to kind of close the technical gap, the technicality, and also for those who are within the safe environment, I recommend the principle of product development flow. You realize that one of the 10 principles, number 6, has been changed to focus on flow. And even at the level of the team now, there's so much focus on flow. So those are some of the top two books I can recommend for now. I think I have a whole lot of them there. I'm going to share more of them later. But then that kind of bring us to talk about the Safe 6.0. It's making noise everywhere. Now,
Yes.
what's your take on this, Mr. Rudolph? Tell us about Safe 6.0.
All right. Safe 6.0. It's three days old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a new baby. It is a combination of, let's say, I want to say 10 years of work. You know,
That's
it,
right.
it's a combination of 10 years of work which companies have looked at. I heard you talk about the focus of flow
Yeah.
as to concentrating more on the high demands for the clients and revision on the acceleration of what this is all about towards be the products which is being led or what the teams are working on. So it's a combination of be it, and it gives more openness to transparency, more
Yeah,
discussions on what is evident in the real world scenarios with knowledge gathered from 10 years. I still have a little homework to do on that, but watching some of the videos and from our discussions, and I witnessed the launching itself.
yeah.
It was very knowledgeable. For those who have not watched it, please go ahead and watch it. It is very knowledgeable, and it shares the upgrade systems in which and the journey so far of ways of improvement towards towards all the various versions. Now we are in 6.0. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. And for those who are heading towards for an interview next week, now let me give you some of the possible questions you will likely get. Trust me. Now there's a transition to Save 6.0. What are the key main important things you should note? Number one, now because we're assuming that you're working Scrum Master, which is why, and we're assuming that a Scrum Master, relentless improvement, it's our key, right? So we need to know this. The first thing is the role of a Scrum Master. We've now added team coaches. So Scrum Masters are
Yep.
not just Scrum Masters; they're now team coaches. Now, the second thing is that in the role of a Scrum Master, they've added, this is for safe though, they've added that the Scrum Master should facilitate flow. Now, if you're facilitating flow at the team level, it means flow was a bigger concept at the ad level.
Yep.
Then they have changed PI planning. It normally used to be program increment planning. Now is planning interval, at planning intervals. So now they have changed Scrum of Scrum to coaches thing. And they have changed daily stand up to team thing. So those are some of the key changes which they expect
Which
almost everyone to actually master when you get on an interview. So uh, kind of, I think I shared on my page yesterday some of those highlights in terms of the key roles that are there. But I'll try, if you can, I'll try as much as possible to do a blog post maybe before the end of today to highlight some of the changes that you should know before you get to your next interview.
Yes,
Okay,
and Dr.
so
Francis, one new thing I want you to highlight on the new 6.0 is empowering teams and clarifying responsibilities. That
that's
is one
right.
of the
That's right.
things for it. You know, they always talk about processes, people, tools, and all of that, but this time around, it does not only identify; it empowers the team, clarifies the responsibilities, be it for the RTE, the product manager, the ads team, wherever team you're depending on, whatever all of that has to do with. So empowerment and clarification of roles, and accelerating the value flow is one of the things which I really enjoyed, and enjoying so far in the 6.0 save.
Yeah, and they actually also changed the title of the SPC, which was normally the Safe Program Consultant, to a Safe Practice Consultant. So they actually really trying to identify and make clarity to most of this role. All right, so before we get our last question, let's take some of the questions that have been coming in. So
Okay.
from our viewers, so that we are here because they are there. So let's take some of the questions that are coming in and see how we can interact with them. So the first question that came in so far today was from Bunmi and Met, and they say wondering what the Scrum Master role would be where a company is looking to implement third-party risk management strategy, looking for scenarios. Okay, now, Bonnie, now this is the first thing you need to understand. The Scrum Master role is not based on the company you're going to apply, or your strength in any interview is not based on what the company is doing. It's based on where you have worked before. So your case study, now a lot of mistake a lot of people do is if they see that they interviewing with a company with a cloud, they're doing cloud migration. Now they go look for a strategy in cloud migration and they want to present to the company. It's just as I always say that you're a student and then you come to class trying to teach the teacher. Now, this is a secret for everybody. The strength is tell them where you're coming from. They've never been there. And then tell them based on where you're coming from, you think you can do what they're asking you to do. Nobody expects you to be a superhuman, right? So stop trying to. You cannot come into my environment and you're trying to, and then you can make it. No way. So in most of the cases, what I always advise people is even when you go for an interview and they ask you something which is that you have never come across, don't say, "Oh yes, I had a situation like this," and then you go blank. Immediately do a disclaimer. Unfortunately, I've never come across this situation, but if I come across at that time, you're going to be telling them the theoretical part of it. But you cannot tell me, "Oh yes, I know this," and then you're trying to guess what you know. It doesn't make
Exactly.
sense. So the reason why I would not really give a direct answer to this question would be because that is not your environment. What you should bring on board is this is my environment, and your environment is based on your resume, and you best know what is on your resume, so you can best reflect that. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
doctor. Let me throw a little bit light on that.
Yeah,
What role a company is looking to implement a third party. I mean, it is. When we started this conversation, we talked about the goal to every Scrum Master to attract companies is your accomplishments.
that's right.
It is your accomplishment, what knowledge you have impacted in your previous role or experience, and what you can impact, what you can bring to the table, what value can you add. True, companies would like to pay you those six figures, quote and unquote, but they want to see the potentials that you have, what you bring on the table, be it in every environment or every workspace you have worked in. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now the next question comes from IBS in Boots. Hi, Bot. I have a question. How do you balance the need of the team with the need of the organization?
All right, let me take that one.
Yeah,
Let me take that one. The need of the team should come up with company compliance, right? Every workspace, from what I've seen, companies I've worked with, the teams who are doing the work should not go against company compliance. If the company decides that this is, be it the license, like let's say they want to use Jira or Azu for what they are going, the team therefore has to be able to work on that. Now, what you need for the team is for them to understand and get to that goal for what the organization umbrella covers it all. Remember, you, the Scrum Master, you come in not only. I mean, I'm speaking from the Scrum Master perspective. Doug, you talk about the business part of it, but the goal is um, Scrum Masters do report teamwork. I do report teamwork weekly to my stakeholders. On a weekly basis, every Friday, I have meetings with my stakeholders to show them the work in progress which we have done. Now, if that fails against the company organization, we need to reshuffle it. I work very closely with my agile coach in my organization, where we brainstorm with him to look at possible ways which we can work on improving the agility or agility health of team members, of other scrum masters who will sync up during scrum of scrum sessions to share knowledge on ways to improve and get that balance. Yep.
well, thank you very much. From the business perspective side of it, we're looking at policies, right? You at the team level, you are going to have your working agreements and the rules and regulation of how your team do the work. You always need to ensure that they align with the company policy. And how do you ensure that talking to your manager or whosoever you're reporting to see if there's some compliance or standard in the organization that can help you actually collaborate well with your team. So at every level of the organization, there are compliance, there are policy issues. Now, in a nutshell, uh, your team is there because they need to help the company deliver. So helping them align to the product vision and to the product goal. It's also a way to go, a way to go. All right. And Catherine says that now still talking about the 6.1. Thank you for bringing up this point. What also changed are the four core value of SAFe. Normally, it used to be built-in quality, program execution, alignment, and transparency. Built-in quality and program execution has been taken away and replaced with relentless improvement and respect for people and culture. So those are also some of the change. The four core value of faith has also changed in this new in this new update. Thank you for pointing that out, Coach Catherine. All right, and the next question is from Samuel. How can one level?
Sorry, Doc, but that been added, but two more new values have been added to the 6.0, people first and culture second. Yeah,
Yes, yes. Yeah, there's a whole lot of attention around people and culture in the in
yeah,
the in the 6.0.
in the
Yeah.
new, yeah.
Okay, so let's look at a question from Samuel. How can one level up after attending CSM and PSM? What would you recommend as the next step for entry level Scrum Master? Okay, I'm gonna take this question. For anyone still looking forward to take the CSM and PSM, uh, now this is my take. It's my personal opinion, so it's an advice for you. I wouldn't advise, except you're already somewhere into project management. I wouldn't advise you going for the 2 days online. So look for a program. Look for a program that doesn't only give you a certification, but a program that can train you after the certification and then work with you on practical project. Now, the mistake a lot of people do, which is making them invest in the wrong direction, is that they go by cost. They're looking for what is cheaper and what can I afford. So a lot of people now promise that I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and they never do it. For you to know which one is the right community or where is the right place for me to invest my money, don't go on a conversation expecting people to tell you what they offer. Do your research and write down a list of questions on what can help you become a Scrum Master, which is why we are sharing here. And then ask them, how will you help me accomplish it? How will your community help me accomplish it? How will your community put down your list? And that is when you know this is what my investment or not. If you just like, oh, what do you offer? And I tell you all the lies that I can offer. But if you go with my question and I actually tick all of that, now I can hold you accountable at the end if you actually said you're going to deliver this and you did not deliver that. Right. So, and also go to people who have proof of concept, not just someone you just heard about somewhere. So very important. And just to say this before we go to the next question, there, a lot of people reach out to me, which is why I want to advise everyone watching me who's not yet in the field. And like, oh, someone told me about the Scrum Master, and I want you to tell me more about it. That is a first step to failure. Now, just to be very frank with you,
Absolutely.
if you hear something, go do your own
Your
research before
research.
you reach out. When you call me like that, I know you're not serious. I won't even waste my time talking to you. Trust me. Take time if it's something valuable. Now, the reason why a lot of people still find it very difficult to break through is because they heard from someone is paying good and they're doing it because they want a route of escape and they don't do their homework. And because they don't do their homework, they come in with the wrong mindset. It's difficult for them to break through.
Breakthrough.
Even when you're trying to help them, the brain is keeping them back. So please do your own research, come up with at least some point that shows some seriousness, and that will also help you not to invest your money in the wrong place. Trust me. So,
Yes, that no, you're very right when you say that. And Samuel, sorry I'm calling you out, but one of my recommendations to you in the next step is engage in research. You know, You engaging in research after taking the training, it's a project. It's a project itself. I heard Dr. Francis talk about a checklist. Whatever you fulfill that checklist, which I always call it as meeting the criteria for the DOR definition of ready. Once as you exhaust that checklist on this, you realize you have worked through a project. And that's what I would encourage you to do.
All right, thank you. Lauren says that as a new certified Scrum Master with no Scrum team experience, how do I leverage my military experience and how can I negotiate salary? No pro IT industry. Okay, that's a very difficult question in quotes. And now, Mrs. Lawrence, this is my um, advice for you. I'm not a certified advisor, so it's just a personal advice. Okay, for anyone related to this problem, you need to talk to a coach that has been in there and know exactly what to do. If you send me a private message, I can have an assessment with you and I tell you exactly what to do, right? And I can advise you what to do. That's for free. I'm not charging you money. But if I advise you and you realize that it's what you need to do, then I will tell you how much you need to hire me to do that for you. So that would be the way forward.
Yeah, let me add to that, Lawrence. Quote or unquote, I'm not an expert on PSM coaching as well. But what I will tell you is, as I made mention in the beginning of this video, everybody has done Scrum in one point in their lives. With your military experience, where you wake up in the morning, you know the routine. You know that cycle. You have to go, you have to do this. I mean, it's going to help you very, very much. Sync up with Dr. Francis, and he's going to lead you towards that.
Okay, do you have a specific community? Yeah, I actually run a community of practice for anyone interested in joining my community of practice. Send me You can send me a private message on LinkedIn or uh, on the whichever platform you're watching from. We also have contact going down below, and that can give you more information on what it takes to get into. It's a process. It's not just we don't accept anybody. Just to make sure that if you're coming, it's not a guarantee that we're gonna admit you, right? Because our goal is focusing on helping those who really need it, and not those who just need a spot where they can do. They can call someone and ask a question and call someone. One of the things we don't do in our community is that we don't babysit, right? Which means we show you the roadmap and then ensure that you walk through the map appropriately and not make any mistake.
Yeah.
So yes, we do have that. Okay, and you want to take the next question?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the question says, what is the difference between agile coach and the Scrum Master? Can you throw more lights on agile coach and how the agile coach can scale agility in your environment? All right, let me talk about coach. Let me leave the coaching part for you, right? I'll take the Scrum Master part for it. Then when we blend those ideas, we'll get more light on that. Now, Scrum Masters, as I said from the beginning, Felix, um, Scrum Masters come in to help teams. You are a servant leader to a particular team. You are more of a solution maker. You understand the concepts and the context of what your team members are working on. You are there to improve, add value, work between the liaison between management, the stakeholders, the team, making sure that you work on these three basic pillars of Scrum, which is inspect, transparency, and adaptation. Making sure that that range within your organization flows towards attaining, looking at the scope for the project you're working on. I mean, it's not only about facilitating. You do facilitate, yes, you do interact, but getting a one-on-one to know what your team members are doing, how you can add value, looking at timelines on what you are working on.
Thank you. And now, talking about the coaching part of it, in an organization, there are different levels, right? You have the reason why you have the managers, the director, the VPs, and us is because they classify organization in different levels. Now, a Scrum Master work more at where we call at the essential level. The people doing the work day to day, making sure the software is built. You, the Scrum Master, you're coaching them on how to effectively work. Now, an agile coach go a bit level, work with the team, work with the managers, work with the directors, and make sure that they understand what the entire company is doing in terms of implementing practice. So an agile coach have more of a bigger view over the organization, expected to have more experience, expected to have more negotiation, conflict management skills, and the rest.
And one other thing, agile coaches, like in my organization, I'm under an agile coach. Agile coaches might have a couple of scrum masters who report to him,
Yeah,
to know the problems which they face at the level of their teams, so he can present it to upper management to regulate, to adjust, to suggest better ways to promote agile in the environment.
great. And we almost at the top of our time, but uh, I think, Mr. Rudolph, Scrum Master Extraordinary, we have one major question for you. I know a lot of people here want like a big takeaway home for today. If they were to ask you, what is the secret to landing my first job as a Scrum Master? What would be your response?
All right. For those who watched the flyer we put out, it was the secret to landing your first job. Sacrifice time, dedicate time, look for a study buddy, look for a study partner. Get that balance between when to study, when to practice it, because I mean, get online communication with people, watch videos, look for a coach, look for a mentor, right? Continuously improve on yourself, believe in yourself. Your confidence will give you the job. Dedicate time, do research, speak it to somebody, you know, interact with people who are familiar with that environment. Get somebody to hold your hand. You know, the when you sacrifice knowledge, the quest for knowledge is going to give you the job. You know, in my experience, I fell down a couple of times. I had a lot of people I used to call. I'll call Miss Rosemary. I'll call my sister Matilda. I'll call Robert Tawani. I'll call you Dr. Francis. I'll bug you. That quest of knowledge will make me get my first job. Now, there's a difference between getting the job and keeping the job.
Yeah,
When you get the job and you're comfortable, trust me, you will not last in that job. When you stop at that point where you think you have the job without you getting that quest for more, test for more knowledge, you're going to drop down. Now, if you're facing any challenges during the job, those team members, those connections which you have built during that your process, that your walk down through the journey when you were trying to get knowledge, those people will always be there to help you. So my home take is, the secret to getting every job is go and apply. When you're ready, you know. Do study materials, study, get yourself ready for the market. Prepare yourself. There's an old saying, don't feed your fowl on the market day. Or how do they say that in back home, Francis? Don't feed your chicken the day you have to take it to the market.
I know, right?
Invest your time in it. When you invest your time in it, it will bear
It,
fruits. That's my take home.
wow, wow. Invest, 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 invest. I would say that one of the reasons why I promote community of practices a lot is because they keep you, they hold you accountable, and they help you stay consistent. Very important. So, yes, invest in yourself. And I think Joy asked a question for someone that has been a Scrum Master for 3 years. What's the next step? And this is the reason, if this is the reason why, even when you're a Scrum Master and you don't have a community of practice where you belong to and you're learning from other Scrum Master, you're definitely also missing out a lot. What is your line of sight now? Um, for everybody. Now, I'm a program. I'm a safe. I'm a uh, safe practice consultant. Right, safe practice consultant, and I always tell people that if you're not safe certified, you're leaving a lot on the table. Because if you're within a safe environment, you realize that the Scrum Master is the baseline. After the Scrum Master, you move to the ROTE, which is a program level coach. After a program level coach, you move to the SPC, which is now you act like a company coach. After the SPC, you move to SPCT. SPCT are more like enterprise coach and also those who coach the government. You realize there's a lot of growth within that space. So if you've been a Scrum Master for 3 years, number one, I'll always say go for an RTE. But my recommendation will also be that for everyone who really want to take Scrum seriously, will also be that engage yourself in also technical learning. You can decide to go for an AWS certification, a DevOps engineer certification, get a bit more technical. You're going to need this in the next 1 year, 2 years to come to keep that job. So for anyone who is in now and is comfortable, now go for ROTE. When you go for ROTE, the competition there is a bit lower. When you go for SPCT, the competition there is very lower. Now, Agile Coach, it's also an option, but then Agile Coach is very generic because anyone can get an Agile Coach certification, right? The value of you kind of taking the part of save is that if you see they're investing so much in their structure and they're trying to buy in on every corner, which is a great place to be there, but also learn at least one technical skills. That one technical skill is going to separate you from everyone competing with you at any time T. Right. But if you're still starting, you need a community of practice that will help you understand how to integrate these technical skills and how to break through the market. When you get through the market, you have more time to learn. And that's why I say when you get through the market, don't go for two jobs. Your next job should be investing your money in learning so that you can keep that job. A lot of mistake many people do is that they go for multiple jobs, they cannot learn, they
Yeah,
cannot sustain it. At the end of the day, they lost both jobs.
lots of good jobs.
What's
Yeah.
the need? There's no need. You should be learning how to get to an agile coach. You should be learning how to get to an ROT. You should be learning how to get to an enterprise coach. That is a unique opportunity for everybody. And trust me, if you don't really value it within the next 2 years, you might see yourself going back to what you used to do again. So it's an opportunity that we have the privilege to come on board and kind of just educate you on what you need to do. But we cannot push you to take action, right? You need to take the action by yourself, and you need to push yourself. I'm going to roll it back to um, our Scrum Master Extraordinary to pull the shot while we are closing out for today. Uh, you have the floor, sir.
All right. My one thing I want to add for to go those listening to my voice, the concept people have about Scrum Masters, and Dr. Francis, you'll be a witness to it. It's they'll tell you, "Oh, I'm interested in getting a Scrum Master job. Can you give me a job? Can you get me a job? You know, the jobs are out there.
Yeah,
Do your research. Do your work. I mean, put out your resume, get the context of what. If you see a job, I mean, do easy apply. I mean, some people say do not do easy apply. I mean,
yeah,
apply for the jobs. When you get to that place for the interview, you even if you don't have the job or you have the job, sometime luck, you might meet somebody who doesn't know nothing about Scrum. That is where you can shine. For those you meet who know, when you do a research, whatever you talk about, you should stay in context with, and you should stay in context with the goals for adding value, improving value in whatever. I mean, be that person when you get into it. My goal, like an extraordinary Scrum Master, is when I get into an environment, if I'm living an environment, I should make an impact towards productivity. Yes. So invest in yourself, get a study buddy, and also believe in yourself. Your courage will get you the job.
All right, your courage will get you the job. Very, very well said. And kind of the last question for us to round up here. And Shaman says, "What technical skills should I learn?" Okay, this one it's a bonus for everyone. Now, for Scrum Master, number one, learn the technology stack that your team were using. What's the use of Python, SQL, MySQL, Java, Jenkins. Go. Those are not technical. Those are what you should know if you work in a Scrum environment.
And
Number two, learn about the kind of project that we can build by Scrum. Have those case studies. What I learn about the different position, not just say my team, the development team, understand the composition of the development team. We're talking about a back end, a front end, a full stack developer. We're talking
UI,
about
UX
DevOps
developer.
engineer, UI, UX. Understand the different roles that they actually play. Understand the different type of team. If you're working in a data team, if you're working in a portal team, if you're working in a mobile team, what are the possible composition of the team? This is very important. These are not technical stuff. This is stuff that when you don't get prepared, when they ask you in an interview, you feel like, oh, this was too technical. No. Now also understand about not just what is the meaning of a bend down chart, bend up chart, velocity chart. Know how to generate this in your bot. Know how to at least use Jira. Jira is for free. ADO is for free. Know how to create your own conference page. Most importantly, which is surprising, what a lot of people don't do. Now, this is surprising, but please know how you can be on a Zoom meeting or a team meeting and you record and share your screen. This is what you will not miss on your first day when
Your
participating.
first day of work. Yep.
How to record, how to all of this is just 2 minute YouTube videos. So don't spend time on TikTok and Instagram watching those who are making you laugh. They're not gonna help you, trust me.
Yep.
Make YouTube your friend. I had one of our team members just to share this, and she had a job. And when she came to share what really kept her, she said she uninstalled Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and only had LinkedIn and YouTube to make sure that she focused on learning. And that was the reward. Say, until I go through, I don't want anything else. And now, if you listen to her talk, you'll feel like, oh, this is someone who has been in the field for 10 years. Trust me, everyone can do this. But then your level of hunger, your level of what you really want to do matters a lot. Please
Still,
make sure you're doing this.
all right. Still on the bonus technical skills. Build your personality. Yes, build your personality.
Very
Building
important.
Yes, building your personality helps you to relate. I mean, you work with people from different, be it offshore teams, onshore team developers, people who are resistant to change. You need to build that convincing personality, several leadership personalities for you to break through that.
Yeah, the last question for Joy. Joy, join a community of practice where you're being put in the spotlight to facilitate where you start doing it. And the unfortunate thing is that those some of those who also invest their time in joining this community, they never come on camera. They always join in with their phone. The only time they go on camera is when they have an interview and the camera doesn't recognize their face. Like, where are you
Absolutely.
coming from? Now, this is the reality. You're practicing, you've never learned how to come on camera, and the first time you want to go on camera is when you have an interview. The camera will be surprised, and trust me, you're going to be very confused. So start practicing this stuff. Put value. If you invest in the go there, prepare, go there with some hunger. That is a passion for success. Don't just do things anyhow. When you do things anyhow, you get anyhow result. So I think
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was the message of
and
somebody.
Doc, one more thing for those hearing: when you practice, those interviews will become more conversational.
That's right.
Yes, it becomes more conversational where I mean they will just want to see your I mean my very first job, the person, the flow, that connection, that ability for me to break it just for the first 3 5 minutes during that conversation determines I mean, that conversational spirit determines how long that interview will be. Some people will
Yeah.
tell me, "Oh, I had an interview for scheduled for an hour. It was just 20 minutes." Like, I'm like, "How was it?" He was like, "Oh, he wasn't." I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time,
After talking to you for 5 minutes, they discover there's no value. So like there's no need wasting my time.
oh yes,
And
yes,
like, okay, thank you. Do you have any question for me? Because they realize you've not created that value. So
absolutely.
thank you very much, team. I think we need to go. We 10 minutes above our time box. And next week, and trust me, we're coming back with more result again. But we don't just want to motivate you, we want you to take action. We want you to work on yourself. We want you to grow daily. That is important. That's why we have incredible people like Mr. Rudolph sacrificing their whole Saturday just to come talk to you. We don't take this for granted. He's not paid for being here. He's just sharing out of love. And we want you to make sure that you're taking this seriously. And thank you very much. And we are going to see you in the next session of the Scrum Master chat room.
Hey, before we go, one more thing. Follow Dr.
Yeah.
Francis on YouTube. This is my personal coach. Follow him on LinkedIn, YouTube,
Oh.
and Facebook.
And also follow Mr. Rudolph. You can. He's sharing quite some great content. All right, team. We love you so much, but we need to go. See ya.
Thank you.